Curtis Matsko is the founder and CEO of Portland Leather Goods, one of the premier monster brands in the e-com D2C space. You have heard of Portland Leather Goods because they're doing over 9 figures in revenue, and he's going to tell us what we can say about that, what we can't say about that, and how much he does or doesn't like talking about his revenue numbers. But he's got a lot of revenue numbers to talk about because it's a really big, really impressive business. He is, there's 1,400 employees at Portland Leather Goods. I can see the warehouse in the background right now behind Curtis's shoulder. I'm looking at it. If you're watching this on video, you can see it now. We're in a second too. One of the most energetic, dynamic people in our space. You are going to love this conversation with Curtis about how he got his business to where he did. And specifically in this conversation, we're going to talk about how they connect daily actions to annual plans, which is so hard and so important. And all the time, I'm more interested in people who can really bring together strategy and process. And that's what Curtis is going to do here. Let's get into it right now with Curtis Matsko from Portland Leather Goods.
You nailed that, buddy. I was a little bit worried about that. These intros can go really bad. Like they look you up on the internet and they read some old stuff that you might have said one time. You nailed that. You did great.
Like I said, I like to record it while the person is there so they can hear kind of what I'm going to say. And I want people to know too, like how I'm going to frame them to the audience, you know? And so I may go back and re-record it, but if I do, it will be, well, now that you said I nailed it, I won't re-record it, but I like,
good
yeah.
there.
Okay, good.
You gave a few little things we can talk about. One thing is,
so go.
How big are we? Right? Like that's always one of the questions.
Tell me, I asked you the question I ask every operator, which is like, what can I say about your revenue numbers? And some people are like, you can say the broadest, vaguest thing possible. And other people are like, you can tell them down to the cent that we made last year and everything in between. So you have a take on this. Tell me what your take is on this.
We started in a garage and I made everything by hand. And then we went and we were artisans. And then we went to art festivals and Etsy and making everything in Portland. And every time we stepped up, people are like, oh, we want them to, we're artisan. We want them to picture that we're hipsters, like hand making every single piece. And every time we grew and we grew and we grew, I was proud of that because I worked on that. That's really important. I can now give people benefits. I can pay their salary. We're not going out of business. We can buy our building, right? And all my people would say, oh no, you can't talk about that. Oh no, you can't go onto LinkedIn. You can't tell people what we do. And finally, I'm like, we live in a capitalistic society, everybody. You have to make money to pay your bills. I'm very proud of what I do. Now, I read something about me one time, a comment someone did on Reddit. I have read one comment about me on Reddit, and it was a mean one. And they said, I watched a podcast, and all this guy talked about was making money. Well, it was a financial podcast. Of course I talked about that. If it was a customer service one, I would be talking about how wonderful we love our customers. If it was about building a community, I would talk about that. But I'm a guy who runs 38 divisions. When I talk about something, I go all into what I'm talking about right there. If we talked about the Dodgers, we would talk for 20 minutes, and then they'd say, this guy's an idiot. All he ever does is talk about the Dodgers. So
Don't tempt me, Matsko.
We did. We're well over 9 figures. We're going to be doing this year, over 200. So that gives you the number. And people listen to that. And if they say, oh my gosh, I thought they were Portland Leather Goods. I thought they were still in the garage hand making a journal. We're not. We're selling like a sale every couple seconds. So I think people can adjust to that new reality and we'll be just fine.
I believe you're in the great country of Mexico, in fact, right now, right?
I am actually not in a warehouse. That was the only one thing.
Oh, really?
This is a large facility. This is just the stitching area of one area of. We now have 280,000 square foot. This is only a small portion you see behind me.
Well, I meant warehouse, not necessarily like in a fulfillment center, but I mean in like it's a production facility, right?
It is a very large building. Yeah,
that's what I mean. The kind of building it is more than anything. Yeah, okay, yeah. But your point's taken. But you are in Mexico. You are in Mexico, though, correct? Yeah.
I am. I'm in Leon, Guanajuato, Mexico, and everybody knows Leon for shoes and Tacovas and Thursday and Ariat and everybody. If it's a leather shoe and it's made in North America, it's made here because all the tanneries and all the makers are here, and we moved down here. And I love it down here. I spend a lot of time. I have a couple homes down here, and I love it.
let's get into the specific things. There's all kinds of questions, and I'm sure other interviews have covered the sort of journey of Portland Leather Goods and how you got where you got. All that's interesting to me. But I think there's something that I've watched really good companies do, and it's something I'm most interested in as we try to grow our agency. And I think there's a real similar thing here. And it stems from this tweet that you posted a while back, as you have, I think, gotten more active on X recently. You said that you predict and track sales daily for the entire year. And so, for example, you wrote step 1, how much are we going to do in Shopify revenue next year? 170 million. That's what we're planning. Step 2, now using historical monthlies, what % do we put to each month? And you do that all the way down to the day, to where you get to this point where you say you had 21 million projected for November in 2025. Seemed a little off the final week. You ended up at 98.3% of the goal, and you're not happy about it because you want to get it that precise all the time. I think anybody who gets within 5% is very impressive on forecasting, but that's not good enough for you. So tell me about this.
We beat our goal by 8% in December, right?
Yeah, okay.
So that was good. I wanted to do that, but my accountant said, Curtis, you told me you're going to do 24.9 this month. And I was freaking. I was on there 3 times a day, looking, checking, doing everything we could. We ended up over 27 just on the e-com side. So worked out great. Love it. Fantastic. I break everything down to the day. The most important thing, if someone has a business and they really want my insights into this, is do not do off of historicals. Do off of what I call ideal. So, hey, last January we did this. We could do this. No. What do we want to do at the end of the year, okay? Let's figure out what our goal is. I know what that number is. Now let's take the months, and we can use historicals to get us an idea of what we would do in that month. So you break it down to the month. Then you say, what happened last year? Well, this happened, and Meta was really bad for these 2 months, and we were low on product here, and we didn't have our hero products, and we did better here. Great. Now, how do we break that down into a day-to-day thing? When you hand that to marketing, they're going to say all the reasons that they can't get to that goal with the right MER, right? They're going to say, I can't do that unless what? Unless you give me a couple sale days in February. February looks hard, so I need a couple more sale days. I need a new product launch. I need a point giveaway. I need an event. I need something special. And you're like, great. If we figure the whole year out, what days do you want? I know that next October, for 5 days, we're doing a Women's Day and a cancer awareness. We did it last year. It's working. We are doing products for that already. We know that the numbers of what theirs are going to be. We know that we did a 12 days to Christmas, which is from about December 5th through the 17th. We're going to have 2 to 3 new product launches every single day. So I'm going to come up with exactly what we're going to do that day. And now we have to create the products that are good enough to get to those revenues. Does that make sense?
It does. And it's interesting because I just was off a call, like a coaching call an hour ago, from with a brand that did 6 million last year, which is a really big step forward from them. They did awesome. They're up from a couple million the year before or something like that. And then they want to do, their goal this next year is 10. Okay. So that's their goal. And their initial forecast, based on their historicals, exactly to your point, right, spat out 8.5. So they were like, okay, we think we have that. And exactly my advice to them was, okay, the next step here is to turn 8.5 into 10 in your forecast and to figure out what needs to change so that you can accomplish this. And this is going to be down to the monthly level for them before you ever get to anything daily. And that means somebody's got to order inventory. Okay, you want Father's Day to be bigger than it is? Fantastic. What products are you going to sell on Father's Day distinctly for that particular moment in that way? Is there going to be a promotion? Is there not? What do you need to do to accomplish that? And this is actually why I latched on to what you're saying, because there's part of me that looks at what you said and says, well, yeah, you have a huge team that can actually operate down to these kinds of level of details. If you have 1,400 employees, this team doesn't have that. And so is this kind of thing translatable? And actually, sometimes when I listen to or watch,
it's more translatable.
Exactly.
It's more.
Exactly.
It's more translatable.
Yes.
I have 1,399 people who might not be on the same page as me.
Yeah, right.
So, hey, if they're only doing 6 million, they're 2 to 20 people, and the decision makers are right there. And of the top 5 people are either 50 or 20% of their company. Our top people are a very small percent.
Yeah.
You can do a lot more if you're a small company. Here's what people don't understand. They pat themselves on the back for the congratulations, and we just went to 6 million. You said that's a good number for them. That was great. Guess what? They made a lot of mistakes.
Oh,
They screwed up
abs-
so many things, right? So they're like, well, how do we get to 8? Well, don't do the fuck-ups, okay? Don't do those, and then do the really good things, and your numbers are way lower. They're taking what they did. They're forgetting all of the mistakes that they made. If they remember what they were, they would be saying, how do we beat those? Plus, how do we add new spectacular things on top? And when you give an absence of negative and a positive on top of it, they should be running at 12 million next year. And if they don't do their numbers for 12 million, they'll do them for 8, they'll make 7.9, and they'll go, oh, look we almost made our goal. And if I was running that company, I'd be saying, what in the hell are you doing? You're only doing 6, why aren't you at 12? Well, to get to 12, we would have to do this. Great, let's do that. Plan the whole year out, plan it by the month, then the week, then the day. Here's our plan. It's going to change. Let's go forward. Boom.
RICHPANEL is one of those pieces of software that I just think you should be looking into this year. If you're not already using it for your customer service, help desk software, go give it a look. Built from the ground up with AI, RICHPANEL is built for every size of e-commerce business, from starting from scratch, like the business that I'm starting will start with RICHPANEL for sure, all the way up through 9-figure businesses like RidgeWallet. As Sean Frank has talked a lot about why he loves RICHPANEL and why his team loves RICHPANEL and what's been great for them and everything in between. So it scales with your business, and it does that because, like I said, it's built from the ground up, AI first. They see an average of a 30% reduction in customer tickets when people switch from Gorgeous or Zendesk over to them. And a lot of that is powered by their self-service customer self-help portal that is there. So the customers can get answers to their questions really, really fast. Once again, powered by AI, get answers to their questions really fast. And that means that they, accomplish the things that they are looking to accomplish on your website faster and easier and have better experiences. It means reduced ticket load for your customer service team. It means less cost for you. All those things are great. And of course, RICHPANEL guarantees that if you switch from Gorgeous or Zendesk, they promise a 30% reduction in your bill when you switch from one of those older software platforms. So get on a call with them. It's a 2-week transition to transition your help desk software. They know you don't have time to waste on this. There's also really cool other things that are part of what RICHPANEL does, including an AI agent that will respond to your social comments for you on Instagram and Facebook. That's a big deal. You know how much of a mess it is to stay on top of comments. People are asking questions about your products on your ads right there in the comments. And it's really hard to stay on top of it. It's really human intensive. AI, RICHPANEL does an amazing job with their AI agent that does that for you and doesn't hallucinate, make a bunch of mistakes. It just does a great job. So go check it out today. Get on a call, see if it's right for you, see if they can save you some money, see if they can scale with you. They probably can. So go check it out right now, richpanel.com, or follow the link in the show notes to richpanel.com. Okay, I love that advice, and I love the way you're thinking. And you are a good foil for the kind of thinker that I am. Because actually, one of the big things I'm on right now is that, I think a lot of people are trying to grow too fast. But I think, just your energy level and your big belief about what is possible in things is a good pushback on my instincts, which tend to be a little more mild and controlled, and to just sort of grow steadily over a little more time. So
I met you once for a couple days, and I know exactly who you are.
Yeah. Tell me. But I think this is why it's helpful. Sometimes entrepreneurs, I remember hearing a thing about entrepreneurs that was they're out of touch with reality. A lot of times it's a mark of entrepreneurship. And it's a great weapon for them a lot of times. And I'm not saying you're out of touch with reality, Curtis, but I'm saying you clearly think bigger than I do and are saying how do you push this farther and faster and all that kind of thing. So do you think most brands ought to do what you just said, which is okay, you wrote down 8 and that's just a recipe for what's the word, averageness, basically,
Yeah.
And do you think people should write down, you did 6, tell me how you get to 20? Should people be doing that? Or is there a point at which that gets ridiculous,
If it's a product business, they have to deal with products and they have to deal with capital. And I would not say ever do more than a double. That's just silly.
That's helpful. I mean, I think that's helpful right away, actually. So
and
more than doubling is challenging.
Double is really hard. We did it every year. We went 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, exactly 32, 64. We did it every year. So that's hard because you have to double your things. It's not easy to do. Do I think all brands should do it? No. I think it comes down to the person, because you have to do a lot as a person to do this. I can't just say, let's run real fast and make it work. Oh, we blew it up. I have to understand my company well enough to know where the problems are going to be, where the market is going to be, where the cost of goods, where the things I have to deal with financial, I have to deal with taxes, I have to deal with negotiations, I have to deal with legal. Because I know all of that, for us and our brand, because me and my senior leadership team know what the hell we're doing, it is fine. But down at 1 million, 2, 4, 6, if you have a brand that has the potential to go up to something bigger, 30, 40, 100, going from 6 to 12 is not hard. It's only hard if that person is, and I'm going to be a stereotypical jerk right now.
No, do it. Yeah.
24 to 28. They've never had really anything go. They're like, entrepreneurs, I need to go to 100 million. I'm worth this. I'm amazing. They don't see the pitfalls that are going to happen. April and May of every year, our people are feeling sad. Things aren't working the way they wanted to, and we feel behind. Something went wrong, but we have 8 months to fix that, and we always fix it, right? So if it's someone who believes, I want to make a bunch of money in a short term, they're screwed. If it's someone who says, I want to build the things that we need to with the right people, and we're not going to stop at 12, we're going to go to 24, and then we're going to go to 48. You're creating for 24 while you're making 12. So those natural tendencies are going to help you next year. You're not doing everything in 1 year. You built things the year before that are now helping you, right? Is the person or people running that business able to see forward a couple years? Then yes. If they're thinking day to day, month to month, I want more spend, then they're in a trap. And business, and the one thing that you know, Andrew, because you know this stuff so well, and I've watched your stuff, I've listened to you spread wisdom around the world. And the thing that you know is running an agency, you can only do so much for these folks.
Yeah,
for
sure.
You can say, I can fix this part of your business. All the rest, the holistic part, you have to understand and you have to do yourself. Like, I can't go in and deal with all the rest of these things. You think I'm the engine to help you make a bunch more money, but you still have to control, make sure there's not leakages and do all of those other things. A lot of people, when they're really small, they don't understand that. They think everything is the growth. They don't know that their own ship might have some holes in and they need to be fixing that at all times. So is it the brand? Yeah. It's not the brand. It is the person or people running that. Are they capable of all three getting things and making things better?
It's a really, really good answer, I think. I think what I hear from you is a sort of a push and pull of like, think bigger than you are naturally inclined to think, because you can do more than you think. And if you set small goals, you'll have small outcomes. But don't settle for mediocrity. That was the word I was looking for earlier. And at the same time, there are just realistic capital constraints to growing too fast in an e-commerce business because inventory costs cash. And unless you want to lever yourself into potential death, like you are going to be in real trouble there. I think there's a nice middle ground there, which is like, push hard, but be realistic. And, I've seen, again, you said you've seen some of my content. I've seen some of yours. And I think of you as like a dream bigger, push harder kind of guy. Like, you think in a very large scope. And I think it's very helpful to hear somebody with your instinct say at the same time, be careful though. There are some real pitfalls. Yeah. I think it's really good.
If you're a founder, a CEO, and at this point, I'm willing to say this, and this is for all those people who want to write on Reddit that I'm a cocky son of a bitch. I'm pretty good at this, okay? I really am, okay? I'm just pretty good at it.
Of course, yeah.
And to be good at being a CEO founder, you have to hold two things in your hands at all times, and they don't make sense. There's a dissonance between those two things. You have to say, hey, it's going to take a long time. Things take time. At the same time is we need to move faster today, do more. Don't have that meeting next week. Do it now. Let's figure that out right now. Everything is about now. Oh, but it's going to take a long time. Which one is it? It's always both.
Yeah.
Next year doesn't matter. Right now matters. But next year, of course, matters, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have to always be holding that. Am I being cheerful, or do I have to tell somebody they're not doing the right job? Like you have to hold things that don't make sense in your hands at all time. You can't grasp onto any one thing. That's what a lot of companies do. They grasp onto the fact that they think they're smart because they did $1 million in sales. Anybody can do $1 million in sales, right? I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. All I need is someone to turn this up and bring me more customers, and my company is going to be successful. That is not correct. There's so many other things that you need to understand.
Yeah.
And that's what you do when you break things down. We break down, we're on Amazon. We never wanted to be on Amazon. And we're one of those people who just said, why do we need it? We do hundreds of millions. I did $500 million in e-com sales on Shopify.
Yeah.
Why do I need to be on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So we went on there, and just last year, very little. We just did a couple $1 million. I was talking to the guy who's helping run our Amazon. I said, what are we going to do this year? And he said, 4.3. I said, that's the stupidest answer I've ever heard in my life. Like, we're going to at least do 6. And he says, yes, but we would have to change things in order to do that. And I'm like, well, I'm glad that it's the first week of January so we can decide now. My goodness. And he's like, well, if you help me do these, if you made Amazon-specific products at a best trick, if you did this, if you're willing to invest, if you're willing to do this, we could probably take it to 8. And I'm like, much better answer than 4, right? Now, It's not like, put more spend into Amazon. It is, what are all the things that we need to do to make that successful? Now, it's still a small % of what we're doing, but is it worth
you 4X'd it?
Energy? Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's a small %, but if you 4X the channel, that's you keep doing that over a long time, you're going to be in good shape. Can you speak tactically and specifically what when you say like these are the things we needed to change besides just turn up the ad spend? And you can speak to this at the D2C level, Shopify level as well. Like, you're talking about this idea that the growth agency can't do everything for you. The answer can't just be hammer the ad spend. There has to be more to the business than that. And I think that's right. The mistake people make is they try to grow by just hammering ad spend and not addressing things at different levels. What are those core levels that has powered you to make it so that instead of just telling McCoy, hey, turn up the ad spend, you are actually giving the fuel to the business that is needed to then make it so the ad spend goes up almost on its own, if that's the right way to put it.
The fun news is McCoy and his wife and his kids are actually in Mexico all month. So he's actually in a conference room downstairs right now. So
awesome.
We flew him in. He's spending the whole month. We're going to go to the beach for a week. We're going to hang out. And he is a great CMO. And he's one.
He's brilliant. Yeah.
He's the one who's going to say, what I do on the ad spend side is so much. I mean, he does a lot. He's brilliant. But he's like, I need new product expansion. I need this. In order to get to 300 and 400 and 500 million, here's the things I'm going to need next month, next week, in 3 years. So he's down this entire month saying, what are the things that the person in the marketing needs? And he needs other people outside of what he's doing to do this. Now, what are those? We do a lot on customer retention. Now, I like to tell people I'm really smart. No, I don't. I like them just to think I am. I don't think I like them to think I am. What I did is I really lucked out, got a really good product, right? Our product is fantastic. So when people buy it, they love it and they want more. That's a good business model right there, okay? Everyone start there.
But it's so important to say that because, like, everybody's had 1,000 conversations with somebody saying, like, oh, we got to turn up the emails. And it's like, well, that helps, actually. Like, there is a tactical element to this, but, like, there's a real ceiling to that. Like, there's just, you're never going to email your way to supplement level LTV. Like, there's just something that's going to happen at the product level, and you're never going to email your way to, like, bad products being rebought. So, yeah, I think it's very, very important to make this point very clearly that's
the two biggest things that we did. The two most powerful things that we did were we got in a large TAM without really knowing it. And then I lived in Portland and I started this thing in a garage and my friends were all broke artists, right? So I didn't want to charge a bunch. I didn't want to charge a $500 bag. So I kept the price down. So the quality was way better than the price. So when people got it, they wanted to buy more. So 50% of our revenue is always return customers. We keep it somewhere every month. It's between 48 and 52, right? Always. Now, that's a huge thing. When you're doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, you can take a look at it and say, it sure is nice. Those customers are a different customer than the first customer. Completely different. They want to feel special. They've already bought 10 of our bags. How do you get them to buy 10 more? It's not the same bags that we're making for them that is going to sell to a person who's buying their first leather bag.
Interesting.
Right? So we have to have completely different design, timing, manufacturing. Maverick calls it the flywheel. He needs the flywheel. That means every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we need new products, new SKUs, new colors. So all year long, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we come out with 2 to 3 to 4 new things. It's a bag that they love in a special color. It's a new one in something, okay? We will come up with around 4,000 new SKUs this year that is launched on those specific days, because it can give you 100 to 200,000 more on an average Tuesday, and then a Wednesday and a Thursday. And if you go out there and you make an extra $500,000 a week because you've done that, then all of a sudden you make an extra 24 million to return customers that never would have been there. Does that make sense? We know that 95% is that. But we actually have to construct the entire system to go, here's new customers, here's return customers.
And I suspect some of those will end up being like mega smash hits in a way that's surprising, and 100,000 on one day is actually $1 million or whatever, on another day, because you had something really take off, right?
Yeah, you mentioned that I'm sitting in my manufacturing, and I can do what no one else in the world can do. If I have something that works, I can actually take it. And if I put a new product in 5 colors and I made it in China and we put that out, and all of a sudden the first day, 2 of those colors are going to take off and the other 3 are going to suck. You can pretend you never know, right? So all of a sudden these take off, and you do an ad set and it works. That's gold. You're going to sell out in 2 weeks. You call up China and say, hey, ship me some more. And they're like, great, in 5 more months, we'll have that thing arrive at your 3PL. Yeah. I can, within a couple hours of launching, I can see what's working, run the numbers, figure out an idea of how they're going to sell, put a new PO in, have it go from leather to chomping, to matching, to stitching, to quality control, to boxing, and have it in our 3PL in Dallas, Texas in about 14 days.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a huge part of your guys' success story. And I actually love focusing on this because it's so much work. I mean, like when you say release 3 products a week and use product as the lever, I mean, in some ways it sounds like simple, but there is so much process underneath that of you guys vertically integrating the way you have.
So much.
I think I could go, I like this is a lot of my very favorite e-com businesses to look at, are businesses like you who have like, and you guys probably are the true masters of it, anybody I've seen, where it's just like this ability to launch products at scale and scale up winners really, really fast. It's just crazy. Can you go a few steps earlier in your history, Curtis, and talk about how you got to that point? Because again, like think about that $5 million brand owner.
I'm gonna.
The $5 million brand owner can't do that right today, but they can maybe release 2 products a month. Like what? So like
no, we don't do 3 a week. We have 3 days of launches, but on those launches, we could do anywhere from 12 to 30 new variants.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Really, yeah. But here's what we started to. You know what O. Henry is? O. Henry is the famous short story writer, right? Where the first line always comes back and closes off at the very end, right? He seals it up. So we're going to go back to the first thing, talking day to day and how you schedule your whole year. I told you in April and May, shit's not going to work out. Well, that happened when you're at 1 million going for 2. It happens when you're 2 to go into 4. It happened when we were 32 going to 64, right? Something goes wrong. What do? We found out that loop was too short on certain things. So we start tightening it and making it more tight and more tight, more tight. We were making in Portland, Oregon, everything. We took one product that I thought was going to work, and we were making it in Portland, but we also had it made in Mexico and shipped up to Portland. And I remember this day so clearly. We had already sold them because we knew they were in a truck and they were going to arrive, right? Because I want to keep that ad set going. The whole pallets arrived on our loading dock, and we literally just took the labels to ship out and went boom, 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 and then pushed it back off into the truck that then took it back out to the mail, right? All we did is unload it to put labels on it to send it right back out. And one of the guys said, this is the closest thing to printing money as I've ever seen. Because he was used to making everything himself. He was a sewer. He was a designer. He had to actually get the leather and stitch things. And we're like, aha, we need to do part of ours this way. We need to have this. You make those adjustments every year and to get better for the next year. You're not, when you're 6 million, trying to be a $60 million company. You have it in your mindset at 60, but you're trying to be a 12 and a 24. You can't go to where we are. That takes time. But do you have to hurry and make changes now? Yes. Again, it's what I said. You got to hold both things, now and long-term, in your hands at the same time. You have to be thinking this out.
If you are the kind of operator that is serious about making the most out of every click on your website and testing the customer experiences on your website beyond the basics of colors and designs and words on the page, then you need to be using INTELLIGEMS for your CRO testing. And CRO, as soon as I say that acronym, CRO, conversion rate optimization, is really the wrong acronym. I say that because it will help you understand a little bit of what INTELLIGEMS does. It's split testing software on your website, but it's really way beyond CRO in a lot of ways. It's beyond the basics of CRO. Like I said, it can test way more than design and copy changes. Critically, it can test things like split test things like the price of your products, site-wide offers, your new customer discount, your free shipping threshold, how much you're charging for shipping, all kinds of other offers on the site. You can actually fully split test your Shopify theme before you go push a new site redesign live. And you can even test now in checkout itself, which is amazing. All kinds of stuff you can do way beyond the basics that will actually move the needle on customers' experiences and therefore on the value you create out of all the traffic that you are driving. You'll give customers their best experience. You will create the most value for yourself, and you will measure that critically based on the actual profit that is coming through, not just the conversion rate. Because, of course, if you're messing with prices and discounting and shipping thresholds and things like that, you may increase your conversion rate with something you do, but you also may hurt your margin. And so, beautifully, INTELLIGEMS ties into your COGS data in Shopify and spits out the value of every test that they launch. They spit out that value based on the actual profit produced, not just the conversion rate or whatever. So like I said, CRO is really a misnomer. It's much bigger than that. It's really built for the operator who is serious about optimizing every part of their e-commerce business. Go check it out right now. Go to intelligems.io or follow the link in the show notes and use the code FARIS20, F-A-R-I-S 20, like Paris with an F, FARIS20 to get 20% off your first 3 months. So you get a nice little discount there. FARIS20 to get 20% off your first 3 months and try INTELLIGEMS for yourself today. Really awesome piece of software, very fast and easy to use, incredibly intuitive. Go check it out. Do you remember, do you remember specifically like what the sort of like product release cadence was when you guys were a little smaller? Like, did you go to once a month, to twice a month, to every week? You know what I mean? Was there like some kind of graduated version of that happened a little bit over time?
We were like every startup. We were as fast as we can.
Yeah, right.
That's all it was. It was like, do we have something? How long? Can we get it next week? The next week? As soon as it's up, we're taking pictures. We got it. Then we realized, wait a second. We're making so much on these new variants and the return customers. And it's just, we don't have any ad spend for it, right? You want to fix your MRR, you just sell to return customers a bunch of stuff, right? There's no ad spend. It's going to fix those ad spends like so much that the marketing people say, hey, easiest way to get a better MRR is to sell me a bunch of product to our return customers.
Right.
That's the easiest way to do this stuff. So they start demanding more. And you say, wait, if we double our design team, double the sample team, double the photography, do all of these things, and then I'm me, right? So I said, well, let's not double it. Let's quadruple it. We're going to need it next year because we're going to grow. So my design team, and it just does the design, 24 people. That's not counting the sample lines of 30 more people who are making samples every day. That's not counting the 12 different photography people that have to do the whiteouts because we're doing, all of these new things that have to be done immediately. So do you have to build the infrastructure? Yes. But when you're small, you start working and planning on that right now, and you go fast. At first, as soon as you get it, test it. After that, start figuring farther out and then increasing that.
Yeah. It makes tons of sense. What else? You said to me in the beginning of this that you're involved. You have 1,400 employees with 30 some odd teams in the business. How many is that? How many teams you said? 38 teams, and that you feel like the thing that you're hottest on at any given moment is whatever was in the last meeting you were in. So I want to ask you about that. What was the last meeting or you were in or whatever that just got your mind going on something that was like,
oh man, my day has been fantastic. Hey, come on in here. Mariana's out there. If anybody's ever seen my LinkedIn or anything, they know who Mariana, my assistant, is. So she just looked in to make sure I'm doing okay in here. Earlier, I'm setting up right next to me an enormous video studio. I just had all the sound people in, and we're doing 4 different sets to have it so that we can do that. So I could just be working, walk right next door, have a 4 cameras set up with all the lighting that I can talk to people and tell them what's on my mind right then, because everything else. Next,
who's that for? Like who's
Come in
like
here and say hi to Andrew.
Who's that content for? Like when you're making that stuff.
I know,
Hi,
we're
Mariana. Hello.
a little bit right here. There's Mariana, everybody.
All right.
Go ahead. See what you said, Andrew.
Who's that content for? You're gonna go shoot content like that. Like, is that like ad content? Is it like is it something internal stuff for employees? Is it for like this kind of stuff? Who are you shooting content for?
I'm an Oregon football fan. Okay. And I was watching a show called The Solid Verbal. And these two guys talking football, okay? And one of the guys said, I was so sick yesterday. I didn't want to do the live show after the bowl games. But you know what? I got here and I did the show. And the guy said, there's not a lot of heroes in the world, but you sat in a chair and talked football for an hour, right? Congratulations. You sat down and you talked about the one thing you talk about all the time. There is nothing easier for me than to talk about what is happening. So I went on LinkedIn. I had never been on there till like a year and a half ago. I did a couple of videos, and all of a sudden I go places and people say, I know that guy, right? I've had connections. I get employees now because of LinkedIn that literally, it's not what I write. It's not the followers that I have. And that's nice. Yeah. And let me tell you, that's nice. It's the people who turn down more money for a different job and say, I want to work for Curtis and I want to work for Portland.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the people that we hired last year took a $200,000 pay cut to come to work for me.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, right? She's fantastic. So all of my main people, they know who I am before they do that. So there's a little bit of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of stuff that we do out there, very little on Instagram. There's some other stuff. I'm on podcasts and I want to look good on those. Like, I'm tired of the bad cameras.
Great.
I did this amazing podcast. And I'm talking to the guy before we start. And he's got like bad lighting and everything. I look really good. And all of a sudden, he turned on his top camera and his lights, and he just glowed, and I looked like I was in the shadows. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. So I just put it up there because something good will come out of it, right?
Yeah.
I've been offered a podcast with a pretty large network.
Yeah.
And I'm considering signing that contract this month. And when I do, I want to have a studio that they can fly in and see and work with me on the first episode. So
nice.
We'll see. If we
can all kinds of stuff. What's the value of that stuff for you? I mean, hiring and all of that. Like, I'm sure you're gonna, there's ad dollars and stuff like that. But like, you're a busy guy with a big company. Why are you creating content for people out there like that?
Because I have no life other than talking about the shit with you. I mean, I'll be honest. I met you in Bozeman, Montana. I went down into a restaurant in the Copper restaurant. And you recognized me, and I went over, and I knew who you were. We talked. We had a good thing. I lost my platinum card in that restaurant, by the way. Still never found that. And I want you to know, I had a couple great days, and I met a lot of people. But when we talked about work, it was amazing. When we talked about their companies, it was amazing. When they talked about life, I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no life. This is what I do. So I run 38 divisions. I have a new company called Buckaroo that we are buying companies. We're now investing. We've just recently purchased two amazing companies that we're going to be scaling up. I'm going to be purchasing more. I still bored, man. And so there's nothing easier than me to sit in the chair,
make content,
smart people around the world.
Yeah.
And it's not just content. It is talking to people like you. Like something's going to happen by us having this conversation. We don't know what that is, but it's going to be someone who comes up to me later. It's going to be something you say that I'm like, when I was talking to Andrew, he said this. Something will happen. The more good you put out there, the more stuff comes back. The problem is if you are a person who tries to measure that ahead of time and say, if you do this, here's the outcome, you're screwed. If you do passionate things and go toward what you want to do, in 3 years, you're going to look back and everyone says, hey, Curtis, I want to get on LinkedIn. I want to do what you did. And I'm like, I just did it because I like talking, right? That's it.
Yeah, and also they need to grow a $175 million business first. And then
well,
people...
yes, I do have that. I have the ability to do a little bit more. On that. And
I think that's good, though. I think you're right, though. There's a mix of things. I haven't grown a $175 million business. A decent number of people listen to this podcast. Not huge or anything, but like a decent number of people listen and care. I've worked on and grown a lot of other businesses, and and certainly nothing to that large. And so there's still something to be offered there that I think happens. And I agree with what you're saying too. Like, people will sometimes ask me about, like podcasts, and yes, there's advertiser dollars. Yes, it's technically lead gen for our agency, and all those things are true. But I really don't measure it according to those things very much. Like, I have like sort of a target number of ad slots I want to fill all the time, and it definitely helps. But I really think about it mostly as like, I think over the long run, by having a lot of these conversations over time, people will be helped, which I really like doing. I personally just have a lot of pleasure in, like, I always call it like the ball of knowledge transfer. There's some little bit of knowledge that I have about something, and the act of taking that knowledge and then going shoo, and transferring it and watching somebody else receive it is addictive to me. I just like teaching. I find that process very fun. But then
It's
there's also
amazing.
like human connection on these kinds of things that I think is helpful. And then also, like, we're all going to die at some point. And so when you think about that, it's like,
No, speak for yourself, you son of a bitch. I've been taking really good care of myself. Mariana's been giving me the vitamins.
Okay,
and workout and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, and so finding a way to take joy in your work and the people you're with along the way is worth doing, I think.
That was one of the most. It was an interesting time. I had some people in. Some investors had flown into Mexico, and we were having a dinner at my house. About 14 of my top employees were there. And this investor pulls me aside. Now, we have had no investment. We've never accepted anything. I'm totally self-funded. We bootstrapped, whatever, all this. But they wanted to see if they could make an offer for part of my company. And he said, I love this. I love the people you work with. Everyone's so happy. They're so friendly. They're so optimistic. He said, do you know how lucky you are to have employees like this?
Yeah.
And I said, you
not lucky.
I
Right.
spent 8 years finding these people. I sat through 2,000 interviews myself.
Yeah.
I had to train them and get rid of the bad employees. To make room for the good ones, I had to have people go on and write negative shit about me so that I could get rid of the bad employee and get the winners in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
It takes a lot of work. I love it. It's what I do. But being surrounded by the right people, if you could add any amount of zeros to the end of my accounts, and I would do the exact same thing tomorrow as I'm doing today.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing else I would do. So when you're already surrounded by the great people doing the right things that you want to do, I would maybe get more tickets to the Dodgers and come in and see you guys more and go see that. It's going to be a great few years.
I think you can already afford that. I don't think
I still do that. I'm still going to be there a bit. I'm going to absolutely love it.
Yeah. Curtis, we have like just a few minutes left. Let's just do one more round of like highly practical, highly tactical thinking. I want you to think especially about that sort of like 7 early 8-figure operator who's starting to see what that 8-figure world is going to look like and kind of growing beyond that point. Like, what can you tell people about sort of what you think in that stage of business is maybe the most valuable things they can be doing? I think you might say products there. I'm not sure. But also what you see is like the hardest part of that stage of the journey as you're going from, like you said, that 2 to 20 team up into sort of that mid tier into the 8 figures, stuff like that. What do you think about that part of the process is like what has been the hardest? So before you get to the scale you're at, before you get to true 9-figure scale, as much as you can look back on that time period and with as clear eyes as possible, what is that? Because I think that's where a lot of my listeners are at and would probably benefit from hearing.
No, and I get it. And I've been working with dozens of these people, just like you coach and work with a lot of these people and you help them out.
Yep.
I've just purchased 2 companies and they're in the same boat. They're like, what do I do? And as you talk to them, it feels like they're in a box and they can't see out of the box. Like from up here, it's easy to say, wow, you're worrying about things that shouldn't worry about. You're like, oh yeah, but if I hired that person, I'd have to spend $60,000 for that person. And they're thinking about it ground level. Right now, I don't have $60,000. That's how they're thinking about it. And like, you don't need it. It's just like buying a house. You might not have the money right now, but you can put down a down payment and pay that out over time. What is that person going to produce for you, right? Your company is not going to grow unless you get that good person who's doing those ads, who is doing that, who is writing that, who is taking care of the technology. You have to spend money to make money. You're not there to suck money out of your company. You're there to grow a sound and solid company. And so you're going to need the right people to do that. You have to, and most importantly, I would tell them this. Everybody talks about their successes, especially to their friends. How are things going? Oh, let me tell you, I built a $2 million business. And they tell that story so much. How did you do that? And they say how they did that. 90% of that is wrong to get to $10 million. But when they tell the story over and over, they just have it in their mind of, oh, you know what? Several years ago, we did this and this worked and this worked. Yeah, that worked to get you to $1 million or $2 million. That's everything you would do wrong to get to 10. You have to kill off the best things of yourself so you can move on and grow into that next one.
I think that's a fantastic answer. That the actual challenge of the next phase is that you have to stop behaving like you behaved that in the previous phase. That is really right, I think. And I've same thing. I've sort of watched that happen for a long. This is how people get stuck in the sort of like just turn up the meta spend loop, is like, because like the meta spend got them to 10 million, and so listen, I run a meta ads agency. Basically, like I want people to keep investing in meta. I want them to get so, but it's like, I think that's really, really good advice. You have to start looking and say, how is this business going to be different? And that actually is a really big challenge, to stop doing the things that you were doing that got you to where you were and start doing different kinds of things. It's very hard to see that.
Because you're living in your day. You've made, what I tell people is, you've made every decision up to this point for very rational reasons. I don't want you to tell me what they were. Just understand that I know that at that time you thought that was the right decision. Let's get rid of all that old crap. Let's start right here. From right now, your friend at 6 million, what do you need for 12 and for 24? 90% of what you've done in the past is the wrong stuff. 90%. What are you going to be doing at 12 and 16? Let's start working on that. You need to spend more time. The majority of your time on where you're going, not on your day-to-day of where you currently are. You have to spend more time. Oh, if I have extra time, I'll spend time on that. No.
Yeah.
You get someone to do what you're currently doing, and you move on to the next thing, and you pull them up to that next level.
Yeah, I like that.
It's easy.
I like that a lot.
I know we have to go. It's easy to say, but the most important thing is the things that got you there are not going to get you to the next level. You have to get rid of those things and become a new person and a new company every year. Every year you have to be new.
All right, man. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time and for doing it. Again, I'm always conscious of the fact that you are building and growing a very large business, and therefore your time is, even if you weren't, you're a human. So your time is the most valuable thing you can offer, and I really appreciate it a lot. We'll get a lot out of this episode, I think, Curtis.
Hey, you did the best thing. You saw a stranger sitting across from you at a restaurant, and you invited me over to your table.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a nice thing to do, Andrew, and I appreciate it.
Yeah,
hey, buddy,
my pleasure.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
it.
Thank
you. Yep, absolutely. I told you, high energy. I didn't lie to you. Curtis just is a ball of fire all the time. Big thanks to him for taking the time to come on the show. Follow him on LinkedIn. Follow him on X. Links for those are in the show notes, of course. And of course, you can email me, podcast@ajfgrowth.com, with any follow-ups on this episode or any others. I also linked, by the way, the tweet that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode is also in the show notes for this. So if you want to see Curtis's pathway to daily planning, daily action to generate the annual and monthly outcomes you want, that tweet for that is linked there. Go check that out. Like I said, email me, subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. And if you want to work with AJF Growth, go to ajfgrowth.com, fill out the intake form there, tell me a little bit about your business. What I'll probably want to do is poke around your business and send you some thoughts on your ad account, that kind of thing. If it looks like you're a decent fit and a possibility of working together. So fill out that intake form, tell me a little bit and do that. Big thanks to RICHPANEL and to INTELLIGEMS. Links for both of those are also in the show notes. They're both great sponsors and great products that I'm very, very happy to be working with and be partnered with on this show. I've been with both of them for quite a long time now because they do great work and they really do an amazing job in the e-com space for e-com operators. So go check both of those out. More great episodes coming up. I've got Sarah Carasona coming on soon to talk about growth for e-commerce businesses and how she is thinking about that with real playbook kind of thinking across a lot of different businesses. Really smart gal. Really like Sarah a lot. Rob Fraser from Outway Socks is coming soon. And of course, ongoing monthly updates with Patrick, my COO and business partner, about where our business is at, what we're working on, what we're seeing across our clients. Thanks so much for watching and for listening. I will see you next time.